Good morning.
Hello. Hi, today is Monday, September 7th, and we will be reading Isaiah chapter 16 through 19. Please join us.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes? And so we're here
Wally.
with Lolly
And the cats.
and
Miss Evan's sister.
Miss Karen's sister,
Miss Evan.
Irene and Carolyn.
Yes.
And we're reading, what was that?
Isaiah 16 to 18.
19. All right.
Isaiah 16, a plea for mercy. Send a flock of lambs from the rock of the desert as a gift to the leaders in Jerusalem, to the mountain of the daughter of Zion. At the banks of the river Arnon, the women of Moab are like newly hatched, fluttering birds. They say, make a decision, give us shelter, hide the fugitives, don't betray them. Allow the Moabite fugitives to stay with you. Be a shelter for them from the destroyer. One day the oppressor will be no more. The destroyer will come to an end, and the tyrant will vanish from the land. Then a government of unfailing love will be established with a faithful king in the tabernacle of David, passionate for justice and swift to do what is right. Moab's demise. We have heard about Moab's pride, how haughty he is, filled with arrogance and insolence, with nothing more than empty boasts. So now Moab will wail. Everyone will wail over the ruin of their country. Lament and grieve for the foundations of Ker Haresheth. All the lush fields of Heshbon are dried up. The vineyards of Simma have struck down the lords of nations, whose vines reach northward to Jazer and spread to the desert. Their shoots spread out and extend across the Dead Sea. So I weep along with Jazer over the vines of Sibmah. I drench you with my tears, O Heshbon and Elilah, for the shouts of joy over the harvest. The fruit and grain have ceased. Joyful celebrations are still in the orchards, in the vineyards. No one sings or shouts, and no one treads out wine in the presses. I have silenced your gleeful shouts, like heartstrings. My heartstrings throb for Moab, and my inner beings sigh for your broken walls. Ker Haresheth, when Moab comes to their high places to plead with all their might and enter into their temples to pray, it will have no effect. This was a word of the Lord Yahweh spoke in the past about Moab. But now the Lord Yahweh says, I am exactly 3 years. The splendor of Moab and its huge population will shrink to nothing. Only a small and feeble remnant will remain. Isaiah 17.
Would you like to
Would you
read?
like to read?
Oh, sure. Okay. Isaiah 17, a prophecy about Damascus. This is God's message for Damascus. Behold, Damascus is gone. It is no longer a city, only a heap of rubble. Her ruins will be abandoned, left for flocks to lie down in with nothing to fear. Damascus will lose the power of its fortress, and the strongholds of the northern kingdom will disappear. The remnant of Syria will be like Israel, stripped of its glory. Says the Lord Yahweh, commander of angels' armies. On that day, the beautiful splendor of Jacob's northern tribes will be brought low, and they will become like skin and bones. It will be as when a farmer harvests the standing grain and gathers armloads of grain, and as one gathers ears of grain in the valley of giants. Yet some gleaning will remain, as when an olive tree is shaken, leaving 2 or 3 olives in the highest branches, and 4 or 5 on its fruitful branches, declares Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel. In that day, people will gaze towards their Creator, and their eyes will look in faith toward the Holy One of Israel. They will not be infatuated with the religious altars their own hands crafted, nor by what their own fingers have made, nor with their sacred groves or altars of incense. On that day, their bustling cities will become deserted, like those conquered by the Israelites, abandoned to thickets and undergrowth. it will all become desolate. For you have ignored and forgotten the God who saves you and have not remembered your rock of safety. So what do? You cultivate your beautiful gardens and plant imported vines. Even if on the day you plant them, they begin to grow. And even if immediately you see them bud, your harvest will wither away in a day of grief and agony. The uproar of the nations. Ah, the thunder of many people joining together. They roar like the roar of the sea. Woe to the uproar of the many nations. They thunder like the crashing of ocean waves. The nations are roaring like the roar of a massive waterfall. But when God rebukes them, they disperse like chaff on the mountains, like a tumbleweed whirling in the wind. Even in the evening, behold, sudden terror. Before the morning comes, they vanish. Such is the fate of those who plunder and try to rob us.
Hosea 18, a prophecy regarding Cush. Ah, the land of whirling wings, that is beyond the rivers of Cush, sending their messengers by the way of the Nile, and capricious vessels gliding on the water. Go, you swift messengers, to a tall, smooth-skinned people, feared far and wide, to a mighty conquering nation whose land the rivers divide. Everyone, everywhere, all who dwell on the earth. When the signal flag is raised on the mountain, take notice. When the shofar is blown, listen. Here is what the Lord Yahweh said to me. I will rest calm and confident as I look from my dwelling place, serene as on a pleasant summer day, or a cool, refreshing cloud in the heat of harvest. Before the harvest, when the bud is ripening,
Sorry about that.
Before the harvest, when the bud is ripening and the flower finishes, he will take his pruning hooks and cut off the shoots to remove them. They will all be left for the birds of prey on the mountains and for the wild animals to devour. Birds will eat them throughout the summer, and the animals will gnaw on the bones of the fallen all winter. At that time, a tall, smooth-skinned people will bring gifts of tribute to the Lord Yahweh, commander of angel armies. They are a people feared far and wide, a mighty conquering nation whose land the rivers divide. They will bring their gifts to Mount Zion, the place of the name of the Lord Yahweh, commander of angel armies. Isaiah 19.
Behold, the Lord Yahweh is riding on a swift soaring cloud. He is on his way to Egypt. The god idols of Egypt will tremble at his presence, and the hearts of the Egyptians will melt within them. I will stir up silver strife and cause the Egyptians to fight against one another, one against the other, neighbor against neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. The spirit of the Egyptians will be in panic, and I will confuse their strategies. They will seek guidance from their idols and by the spirits of the dead and consult with mediums and wizards. I will give over the Egyptians into the hands of a cruel master. A brutal king will rule over them, says the sovereign God, the Lord Yahweh, commander of angels' armies. The Nile Delta will dry up and the riverbed will become parched and dry. Its canals will become stagnant and stinks with rotting reeds. And the streams of Egypt will dry up from trickling to nothing. All that is planted by the mouth of the river will dry up, and the fields along the brooks will wither and turn to dust blown away by the wind. Fishermen will mourn, all who cast a fish hook into the river, and those who cast their nets will catch nothing. Those who make clothing from combed flax will despair, and the weavers of linen will be distressed. The pillars of Egypt's foundations will be shattered, and every worker grieved. The wisdom of Egypt is foolishness to God. The elite of Zoan are nothing but fools, and the wisest of Pharaoh's counselors give foolish advice. How in the world can you say to Pharaoh, I am a brilliant sage and a descendant of the ancient kings? Where are all your sages? If they are so wise, let them discover to tell you that what the Lord Yahweh, commander of angels' army, has planned for Egypt. Zoan's elite have become utter fools. The nobles of Memphis are utterly deceived, and Egypt has been led astray by her tribal chiefs. The Lord Yahweh has mixed up their minds and poured into them a distorted spirit. They will make Egypt dizzy and act like a drunk who staggers around in his own vomit. There is nothing anyone in Egypt can do, neither head nor tail, nor anyone of high or low position. In that day, the Egyptians will become like women who tremble in fear because the Lord Yahweh, commander of angels' army, shakes his fists at them. The land of Judah will become the dread of the Egyptians. They will quake whenever anybody even mentions it to them because of what the Lord Yahweh, commander of angel army, has in store for them. Divine grace for Egypt. In that day, there will be 5 Egyptian cities that speak the language of Canaan and swear their allegiance to the Lord Yahweh, commander of angels' army, and one will be called the city of the sun. In that day, there will be an altar to the Lord Yahweh in the middle of Egypt, and a sacred monument to honor him on its border. It will be a sign and a visible reminder in the land of Egypt of the Lord Yahweh, commander of the angel armies. And they will cry out to him when they are oppressed. He will send a mighty deliverer and champion to their rescue. The Lord Yahweh will reveal to them who he really is, and the Egyptians will know him immediately. They will worship him and sacrifices and burnt offerings, with sacrifices and burnt offerings. They will make vows to the Lord Yahweh, and they will keep them. The Lord Yahweh will wound the Egyptians, but when they turn back to him, he will heal them. Yes, the Lord Yahweh will listen to them, to their heart's cry, and they will heal, and he will heal and destroy them. In that day, there will be a highway all the way from Egypt to Assyria, like long lost brothers. The Egyptians and the Assyrians will be joined together, and they will worship and serve the Lord Yahweh. And in that day, Israel will become the third partner with the Egyptian and Assyrian as a blessing to all the earth. For the Lord Yahweh, commander of angel armies, will bless them, saying, "Blessed be Egypt, my people. Blessed be Assyria, my handiwork. And blessed be Israel, my inheritance."
All right. Isaiah
Isaiah
16 through 19. Bye.